You think you understand football. You've seen World Cups, penalty shootouts, last-minute goals, goalkeepers becoming heroes, star players being booed, and an entire team collapsing because of a single play. But there's something almost nobody realizes. The football everyone sees on screen isn't exactly the football that decides a match. Most people follow the ball, and that makes sense. The ball draws the eye. It carries danger, dribbling, shooting, goals, celebrations. But in a big match, especially in a World Cup, the decisive moment often begins far from it. It starts with the positioning of a striker, the movement of a defender, an arm outstretched for half a second, a goalkeeper trying to control the clock, a referee deciding to let the play continue, or a line that separates glory from frustration by mere centimeters. Football seems simple. It's 11 against 11, 2 goals, 1 ball, and 90 minutes. But this simplicity is deceiving. Behind it lies a hidden layer of rules, reading the game, pressure, intelligence, and detail. That's why an entire stadium can shout one thing while the referee calls another. That's why commentators disagree live. That's why a play seen in real time seems obvious, but changes completely when the replay shows what almost no one noticed. The average fan sees the shot. The expert observes what happened before the shot. Who was late to the ball? Who gave the ball away? Who was offside? Who simply deflected it? Who actually tried to play the ball? Who used their body to gain an advantage? Who lost emotional control after a decision? In high-level football, talent is crucial, but interpretation is also important. And in the World Cup, this becomes even more cruel, because there are no small plays. A misreading can eliminate an entire generation. An ignored detail can become a global controversy. A decision made in seconds can be debated for years. So in this video, you won't just look at the ball. You'll start to see the game behind the game. Because before the goal, before the celebration, and before the discussion, there's a detail that can change everything. Positioning. Positioning is one of the most misunderstood aspects of football. Fans usually focus on the moment the player receives the ball, but to truly understand the play, that's almost never the main point. What decides the play happened earlier. Imagine the scene. A midfielder controls the ball in the middle, looks up and threads it through. The defense. The striker sprints forward alone, controls it, enters the penalty area, and scores. One part of the stadium erupts in celebration. The other raises their arms, protesting offside. But the right question isn't where the striker was when he received the ball. The right question is where he was the instant the pass was made. This detail changes everything. A player can appear completely free and be in a legal position. They can also appear to be in a normal position and be offside by centimeters. In the World Cup, centimeters are not small details. They are boundaries. A step forward can erase a historic goal. A foot in line can keep the most important play of the match alive. And there's another point that confuses many people. Not every ball received in front of the defense means offside. The origin of the play matters. If the play starts from a throw-in, a corner kick, or a goal kick, the interpretation changes completely. The attacker may be behind the defensive line, and the game still continues. To someone watching impulsively, it seems like a refereeing error. To those who know the rules, it's the game being played as it should be. The problem is that football doesn't give you time to think calmly. Everything happens in seconds. The defender raises his arm asking for offside. The goalkeeper hesitates for a split second. The crowd roars. The striker continues. The linesman runs. The referee waits. And in this chaos, a decision needs to be made with composure. That's where the pressure comes in. In a regular game, a decision like that already causes complaints. In the World Cup, every flag raised, every video review, and every line drawn in the replay carries the weight of an entire country. The striker may have scored the goal of a lifetime. The defender may have jeopardized a campaign. The referee knows that a wrong decision can forever haunt his name. That's why positioning is so cruel. It doesn't appear as a beautiful dribble, a spectacular save, or a shot into the top corner. It's hidden at the start of the play, in that second when almost no one was looking, and when everyone finally notices, the play is already over. But there's an even more confusing situation, one that even experienced fans misinterpret. When the ball touches the defender, and no one knows if that changed the play or not. When the ball touches a defender, many people think the play is automatically reset. as if any contact from the defender would erase the offside, clear the play, and put everyone in a normal position. But in real football, it doesn't work that way. Imagine a shot from outside the penalty area. The ball deflects off a defender's leg, changes direction, and falls perfectly for a striker who was ahead of the defense. He controls it, shoots, and scores. The argument that immediately comes to mind, seemingly definitive, but it hit the defender. However, that detail alone doesn't solve anything. The real question is, did the defender throw the ball, or did the ball just hit him? This difference may seem small, but it can decide a match. If the defender tried to intercept, control, clear, or manage the ball, there was a clear action. He participated in the play. He made a decision. In that case, the play can be interpreted in a new way. But if the ball simply exploded off him, without control, without reaction time, and without a real attempt to play, the attacker's previous position can still matter. That's why two very similar plays can have different decisions. In one, the goal counts. In another, the goal is disallowed. To an outside observer, it seems inconsistent. To someone who understands the game, the difference lies in the detail of the movement. Did the defender open his leg trying to block? Did he try to pass? Was he pressured and miscontrolled the ball? Was he in balance? Did he have time to play? Or did the ball simply hit him without a real chance to react? The referee and VAR don't just analyze the contact, they analyze the context. And in the World Cup, this kind of play becomes dynamite. The striker celebrates as if he'd scored the most important goal of his career. The defender puts his hands to his head. The entire bench rushes to pressure the fourth official. The crowd watches the replay on the big screen, and each person sees something different. The same play becomes certainty for one side and absurdity for the other. This is football at its most difficult. It's not just about rules. It's about speed, interpretation, and pressure. The fan wants a simple answer, but the play demands fine-tuned reading of the situation. And if a touch on the leg is enough to divide an entire stadium, there's a type of play that provokes even more outrage, more confusion, and more discussion: when the ball hits the arm. Few incidents change the atmosphere of a match as much as a handball. The mere contact inside the penalty area sends the entire game into a state of alert. One side appeals for a penalty as if it were obvious. The other protests, points to the body movement, shows the distance of the shot, and tries to convince the referee that it was unavoidable. And that's where many people get lost. Because the question isn't simply, did it hit his hand? That question is incomplete. What needs to be analyzed is how the ball got there, where the arm was, whether the player increased the space of his own body, and whether that movement made sense within the high context of the play. Imagine a full-back trying to block a cross. He jumps, turns his body, and leaves his arm too far out. The ball hits it and prevents the pass from reaching the penalty area. In this case, the arm has become a barrier. He has extended his body. He has occupied a space he shouldn't occupy. The chance of being marked is much greater. Now imagine another scene. A defender runs following the attacker. The ball is kicked hard, deflects off another player, and hits the arm closest to the body, within a natural movement. To someone watching from afar, it looks the same, ball to the arm. But for reading the game, it's not the same. The movement, the distance, the speed, the possible reaction, and the natural position of the body make a difference. That's why this play generates so much outrage. The fan wants an immediate answer. They want football to be black and white. But inside the penalty area, at real speed, almost nothing is that simple. An arm outstretched instinctively can look like intention. An unexpected deflection can look like a block. A natural movement can look like an extension of the body. In the World Cup, this decision takes on enormous weight. A penalty kick isn't just a shot. It's an emotional shift. The striker feels he's been given a historic opportunity. The goalkeeper becomes the last line of defense. The defender carries the blame even before the ball is kicked. And the referee knows that that gesture, that whistle, could become the most memorable moment of the match. Therefore, the handball is perhaps the play that most reveals the difference between watching impulsively and understanding the game. Those watching impulsively see contact. Those who understand the game observe context. But there is an even quieter and often even more intelligent decision when the referee sees the foul, understands the play, and yet chooses not to stop the game. Not every great whistle is a whistle. Sometimes, the best decision for the referee is simply not to interrupt the game. Imagine a World Cup play. The midfielder receives the ball in the middle, turns his body, and is tackled from behind. The crowd shouts for a foul. The bench rises. The player almost falls, but the ball falls cleanly to a teammate who finds space behind the defense. Instead of stopping the play, the referee opens his arms and waves play on. To many people, this seems like negligence. It seems like he ignored the foul, but in reality, he read the game. If he had blown the whistle at that moment, he would have stopped the attack. And in some plays, stopping the game would almost have been a reward for whoever committed the infraction. This is one of the most important details of refereeing, understanding when a foul is more detrimental if called than if the game continues. The referee isn't just there to look for contact. He needs to feel the rhythm, perceive the advantage, assess if there is real danger, and decide in seconds whether play should continue. This completely changes the way we watch football. Because the fan sees the fall, the referee needs to see the sequence. He needs to look at the player who was brought down, at the ball, at the free teammate, at the disorganized defenders, and at the space that has just opened up, all at the same time. In a big game, this kind of analysis is crucial. A well-executed advantage can turn into a deadly counterattack. A foul called at the wrong moment can destroy the best play of the match. And such a decision, made almost silently, often goes unnoticed by those who are just waiting for the whistle. But control of the game isn't just about having the advantage. It's also about time. In the final minutes, every second becomes a weapon. The goalkeeper holds onto the ball a little longer. The fullback takes his time to take the throw in. The player falls and gets up slowly. The winning team tries to cool down the atmosphere in the stadium. The losing team tries to speed things up. It is at this point that football ceases to be merely technical and becomes psychological. The clock is ticking, the crowd is pushing, the referee is managing the game. The players negotiate every second with their bodies, with complaints, with experience, and with competitive cunning. Therefore, those who understand football don't just observe who has the ball, they observe who is trying to control the rhythm. In the World Cup, a match can be decided by a breakaway, a late throw-in, a second gained, or a pause that takes the opponent out of the game. But in the end, there is a detail even colder than time, more precise than interpretation, and more cruel than pressure: the line. And the line forgives no one. After all, football returns to where it always seemed to be: a ball, 2 goals, 22 players, and a crowd holding its breath. Only now you know there's much more going on there. A ball hitting the post doesn't end the play. It remains alive if it bounces back into play. A ball almost going in might not be a goal. A free attacker might be offside because of a detail hidden at the start of the play. A touch from the defender can change everything, or it might change nothing. An outstretched arm can result in a penalty. An arm in natural motion might not be an infraction. A clear foul might be allowed to continue because the advantage is more dangerous than the whistle. And the line is perhaps the cruelest symbol of this invisible game, because it doesn't care about noise, celebration, or sensation. The ball needs to pass entirely, not almost, not most of it, entirely. A centimeter can separate a historic goal from an ordinary play. A tiny detail can transform an explosion of joy into absolute silence. That's what makes football so powerful. It seems simple to those looking from the outside, but inside it's full of layers, rules, reading the game, pressure, intelligence, emotion, and decision-making. The game doesn't just happen with the shot. It happens in the positioning before the pass, in the reaction after the rebound, in the defender's body inside the penalty area, in the referee's courage to let the play continue, in the second the goalkeeper gains, and in the centimeter that separates glory from frustration. In the World Cup, these details become even more significant, because every play carries a jersey, a story, a generation, and millions of people watching. A goal can originate from a movement that almost no one saw. An elimination can begin with a misinterpreted line. A historic decision can depend on a fraction of a second. Therefore, watching real football isn't just about following the ball. It's about understanding what's happening around it. It's about understanding the game hidden within the game. It's about looking at the match as someone who sees not only the spectacle, but also the mechanisms that make the spectacle happen. The next time everyone shouts goal, foul, penalty, or offside, look again. Maybe the most important play isn't the loudest. Maybe it's that small, quick, almost invisible detail that changed everything. If you like to see beyond the obvious in football, leave a like, comment on which play confused you the most in a match, and subscribe to the channel. Because here, we don't just watch the game, we understand football from the inside.